How's it going, guys? Welcome back, and I hope you're doing well. So today, I have a build guide for you guys today. Um, it's going to be basically my favorite core Greatsword set. So you can make a very large amount of builds with this core set. I'm going to go over that for you, and I got 3 different fights for you today. One with Skalpel, one with Reese, and then one with Trokka, and I use a different variation um, of the build, which I will post before each fight, as well, just to show you that it does have a little variety. Um, so yeah, other than that, before we get into the build, some of you may know I do like to do unscripted content, so if it does get a little long-winded, I will leave the chapters down below for easy navigation. So in that, let's get into it. So for the gear, so this is the build at its core. It is the Defector's Jewelry, which that's just my preferred, but the real core of the build for Greatsword is the 4-piece Furious Bandit, because it has some phenomenal bonuses for the Greatsword. The 2-piece for Brink Dodge is nice because we do use Furious Swipe quite a bit, but mainly it's the 3-piece for a fat 20% charged attack damage increase, and the 4-piece is going to give us fire attributes for 10 seconds, which, if you're not using a charged attack at least once every 10 seconds with the Greatsword, you are using it wrong. But this at its core, at its earliest form in the game, you can make this build very, very early by farming the corresponding boss. The scroll is a little farther away from the boss, so I would recommend just farming him a little bit to get at least 4 of these armor pieces. So this is the earliest form of the build that I would use, is the 3-piece Defector and the 5-piece Furious Bandit. Minimum, you want the 4-piece to give you those fire attributes, but the 3-piece Defector is really nice to keep you topped off as far as your Fury goes, or Spirit. But once you get the Jar Helmet, and this is the beauty of this build, right? The 4-piece Furious Bandit is that you can make it very early, so it's a really, really great early game build, right? At its very base. But then as you play throughout the game, you get better gear, you get access to other gear sets, and the Jar Helmet specifically, you can really diversify this build and start mixing and matching some other things around the core, which is the 4-piece Furious Bandit. And I did want to make a build guide on this because I think that, especially for new players, something that I think new players kind of, yeah, it's hard for them to kind of think outside the box with builds, is that you don't have to use every build with its corresponding weapon, right? So nothing in the Furious Bandit set requires you to be using dual wield, excluding the 6-piece, obviously, right? Because then you would need the dual wield to fit that 6-piece. But as far as the bonuses go themselves, right? So I think for new players, it's kind of like like aha moment. It's like, oh, I didn't even think about. Okay, cool, and it kind of opens up the seeing all of the builds in a new light. So just a couple variations around the 4-piece. And again, once you get the Jar Helmet too, you can use other things, such as, maybe a 2-piece Flesh Ripper, right? So you can use a 2-piece Flesh Ripper because you'll have the Jar Helmet, which goes to a 3-piece, and then you can still get your 4-piece charge attacks. Then you're getting 0.3 Fury accumulation or Spirit on charge attacks from Flesh Ripper, and from the Defector set. Then you're getting more on Brink Guard from Defector set, more potent blow damage from Flesh Ripper, right? So you can really mix and match the different sets. And especially what I think is really cool is that, because some pieces have jewelry, right, you can still mix and match like that, right? So then if you want to use a Fugitive Mage Greatsword, you can throw on one gear piece, or, armor piece from the Fugitive Mage set, that you can put on one ring, right? So that way you're getting the Armor Breaker Fury, but you're still getting the 2-piece for the jewelry piece for the Brink Guard. But another important note is that it's a trend with the Greatsword that A lot of cool greatswords have specific skills or bonuses tied to the weapons themselves, which is really cool because, again, once you get the jar helmet, or even without the jar helmet, you could argue, right? If you just have your 5-piece Furious Bandit, or you can take it to a 2-piece, right? So if I wanted to use the Fugitive Mage, I could get my 2-piece, and I could still have my 4-piece Furious Bandit. A lot of cool skills are on great swords themselves, which is great to synergize with the end of this core to make builds around, because you have these really cool skills, but you don't need to forfeit your armor pieces, right? So some of my favorites, again, this being the core, the Furious Bandit set, some of my favorites are using the Crimson Fiend sword, right? So you get Mortal Blow Murderous with getting fire on charged attacks, or you could also take what we did before. You could throw another Crimson Fiend top on to get 10% charged attack instead of the 5-piece enraged damage multiplier, right? So you have so much versatility with this of what you value from your set. You can really fine tune it to your play style as well. Now, I will say another added benefit is that because you only need 4 pieces, which I really, really like, as opposed to like the Fallen Guardian set where you need 5-piece for fire on Brink Guard, is you can take this, right, and you don't even need the jar helmet, right? The jar helmet's really nice as far as it increases your flexibility, but helmets have a lot of cool bonuses. So as an example, I could still have my 4-piece fire attributes, right? Because again, minimum, you want that 4-piece Furious Bandit to give you those fire attributes for charged attacks. And again, you can get that really early on. So then if you want to upgrade one of your helmets, let's say the Chaos Ridden helmet, to give you health recovery on Brink Guard, which we're doing a lot with the Greatsword, right? You get Brink Guard health recovery, but then later on, you can upgrade it to Legendary to give you Overwhelm, which is a really, really good skill. So you can see here what it does, 6% per stack. So it goes up to 5 stacks, and so you're getting a 30% stamina damage buff, right? That's crazy. So you're dealing 30% stamina damage just for Brink Guarding, which we do a lot with the Greatsword, and then you just get constant fire attributes. Like it's insane. And then additionally, if you did not want to use the jar helmet, you could just go with the Furious Bandit helmet, right? The bonuses on the Furious Bandit helmet are also really, really good. So because we're going to be inflicting fire, as you can see for the fixed attributes, if they're exhausted and you do a charged attack, you get 1 entire spear point. It's phenomenal. And enemy flame, so if you ignite them with your fire attributes, you just deal an easy 10% stamina damage. It's beautiful. There's some other cool bonuses, right? You could mix some water and fire, which you can actually inflict both at the same time. But with Greatsword, it's a little tricky, especially because you have so many fire attacks. You could throw on the Chaos set, right, to give you an insane 20% extra damage, right, if you keep attacking. There's so many cool bonuses the helmets have to offer that you can still get your 4-piece, and then you can take advantage, again, if you don't want the jar helmet, if you think maybe your 2-piece bonus from whatever jewelry piece is enough, whether it be Fugitive Mage, Defector, Bishop, whatever you want. If that's enough, even the Pilgrim set is really good for the 2-piece bonus. This core, this 4-piece Furious Bandit core, really is so versatile. It's definitely easily one of my favorites, because again, you can make it early game. So early game, you can farm this, and you can build upon it, upgrade this gear to get charged attack, fire attack damage. You see all those nice bonuses there, max stamina for legendary, and then you can mix and match all the way, and you can build upon this core, and you can carry it all the way into late game, and then into New Game Plus, and then into New Game Plus Plus if you want. The versatility is there, and the strength of the set is there, because there are some really cool set bonuses that you get on the great swords themselves, right? Another one of my favorites, Furious Swipe Agility and the 4-piece Furious Bandit. You're constantly getting charged attacks fire, and then, you know, you're getting the full charge of Furious Agility, so that's really the main thing there. I'm going to stop yapping too much because I'm not going to go over every single way you could build it, right? But at its core, it's the Furious Bandit. Phenomenal, phenomenal set, not only for dual wield, but also for Greatsword. So it's the Furious Bandit set. I personally go for the Defector rings because it's almost hard to run out of Spirit or Fury when you have this piece on, this 3-piece. So early game, this is what I would run. Furious Bandit with the 3-piece Defector. Then again, as you get the Jar Helmet, or, you know, just your preference, however you want to build it out, the core of your build is that Furious Bandit, and from there, you can do a lot of different builds and mix and matching your Phantoms as well to accessorize, basically, right, or to supplement. So other than that, guys, I got 3 fights for you today. One with Skalpel, one with Reese, and one with Trokka. Now for Skalpel, I'll put my build on screen. I'll just play it out for you here. For Skalpel, I ran the Sentinel's Greatsword, and I had a Jar Helmet on. So this right here is exactly what I used for Skalpel. So 5-piece Furious Bandit, 3-piece Defector, and 2-piece Sentinel. Then for Reese, I ran the Transmuted Greatsword. That's the only change that I made, because the Transmuted Greatsword gave me Volcanic Wrath, which is really, really cool. Very cool skill. I've been having a lot of fun with it. So then 5-piece Furious Bandit, 3-piece Defector, and then you get no bonuses there for the Transmuted Sword. And then last but not least, I fought Trokka with a 3-piece Fugitive Mage, 4-piece Furious Bandit, and then 3-piece Defector, because I wanted to use some Scorching Earth, which is a very cool skill. It's very pricey as far as Fury goes, or Spirit. So again, having that 3-piece Defector is really, really nice for that. So then that, guys, those were the 3 builds that I used today. I hope that you give the Furious Bandit set a shot for or with the Greatsword. Please, if you do me a favor, let me know your favorite way to build the Furious Bandit set in the comments down below. I like seeing you guys, maybe how you built it may be different from mine. Whatever you've tried, your favorite one. So other than that, I hope you guys enjoy the fights, and I will see you in the next one.